Hello, people, and welcome back to Yosemite Valley. It's Friday then, and yeah, we are back in here. And today is the first of two episodes of the otter habitat, or the Otter Creek, I should say. Reason being is, it was actually a lot more work than I expected, and we did this in 2 live streams, and it's not even entirely done. The second episode needs a little bit more tweaking, which hopefully is going to be made on my new computer, which is going to be assembled. Actually, right now, when you're watching this video, I will be here in my room with my brother together, setting up the new computer and desperately hoping that my fans will also arrive today. However, we will talk today about the setup of this habitat, okay? I want you to know what really went to my mind. And there were a lot of good comments when I asked you what I should do with the otter habitat. And I want to point out a few of those. Some people said, and this was a great idea, that we make the entire river into the otter habitat so that we basically have the otters living in the free. Now, I still love this idea, and I still believe I will be able to do this with baby otters. That will be the river otters. However, and this is the other problem, at this point with the performance of the zoo and my old computer, it's not doable because you have to imagine that the whole river is like a gigantic habitat, and if you put an animal in and it calculates the traversable area, it just takes ages. I briefly tested that in a smaller area, and oh boy, this took ages. Just for your information, this first part of the video, by the way, is just trying to fix the caiman habitat, which, spoiler ahead, we didn't fix. And this, I think it's mainly because of the patches Frontier brought out. They didn't work, and I just wanted to keep this in briefly just to tell you that I'm still working on a solution for this caiman habitat. It's weird because in my tutorial you have seen that actually it works. Animals can dive under bridges, but I just can't get this to 100% deep dive mechanism. I don't know what's going on here. It's weird, and I wanted to keep it in so you know that I'm still working on it, because the entire area over here is going to change so much that I have a bit of a chance to change it anyway. So it's just something I needed to talk about. But anyways, let's go back to the point of the comments that you guys had about the otter habitat. So first one again was making it into like a huge river animal that lives in the free. But then there were also a few other comments, and that were pointing out towards making a small river going from the high side of where our bear habitat is towards the river, so like dribble into the actual river. And this is what we are also doing. This is what's going to happen in today's episode. Once I've done the fixing over here, you can see I tested a whole bunch of stuff just to make sure that it just somehow works. I also found this funny thing over here, that these stickers seem to be lying in there exactly this way. It's kind of weird. You don't need to do this, but yeah, it's funny. You can see there are a few things changing in here. It's rather funny to see what I tried, but it didn't work. You can see I couldn't get them to 100% swimming need, and then I was like, at some point I was like, you know what, just scrap it. We go on with the otter habitat, and this is going to be over here. You can see this is the free space of land, and I wanted to make like a narrow little river going down, or little creek almost, like going into the water. The problem about this is that again, something seems to be off with the patches that Frontier brought out. I know in the I made a video about this, and I also stand by that. In the early access, the diving was near perfection. There were a few little escaping bugs, but that was about it, The diving was near perfection. You could manipulate it in so many ways. It was so cool. They did swim in narrow water and shallow water and stuff like that. But it turns out that after the 2 patches Frontier released, something seems pretty off. I'm not saying broken, because they still do it, but what happens for me personally, they constantly refresh their deep water need. So that means they seem to have enough deep water, and I like the otter habitat at the moment when we end this episode today will be at a point where the actual need is fulfilled, and it's fine. They have way enough need. I just reload the game, and the otters had no deep swimming. It's insane. Like, they couldn't, because they were just like having way too less deep water. But once they went into the water and just did swim a little bit, it was fine again. So it's absolutely weird. But yeah, let's talk a bit about the layout here. So I think the fact that we put the habitat in this space over here, which is, by the way, for those of you who didn't see yet where exactly this is. The location is now exactly in between the wolf habitat and the caiman habitat, respectively the crocodile habitat. So we have a nice separation now of aquatic slash semi-aquatic slash aquatic stuff we have in here, and the actual wolf habitat and the bears, the grizzly bears on the other side. It's also, story-wise, I think a very good change over here, because the pathway that led from the grizzly habitat to the wolf habitat was all the time just a functioning little shortcut I made to make the zoo work. It was never meant to be exactly this way, and to be honest, it was also kind of boring, because it was just like a straight, plain, boring path leading from one edge to the other, and it's just like way too long, and nothing happens over there. So, it was really something boring, and I am now so happy that we changed this. We give you a little bit of a more story-driven tour. When you come from the Caymans, you need to go through the otter viewing point that is going to be created down here on the left-hand side right now of the screen. By the way, I used a little trick over here in case you guys don't know this. I wanted to make sure that I have a nice little transition into the water, and I keep walking on here without the water, and so I made some fake water for me to know exactly where the edge of the water is, so I could actually manipulate the terrain and stuff while not having the water in. This is always a great trick, so you guys know how to build stuff without having the water in, because you know how much of a pain it is to manipulate the water while not having it in, because you never know if it's working or not later on. There could be so many things, and this helps a lot because you exactly know where the water would be, so you can keep away from that and just make things a little bit more easy and a bit more nice looking. But you can already tell I changed a few things. This is the entrance way over here to the wolf habitat. I changed the staircase just to make it a bit more nice looking. This is the backstage access, and we will have the same backstage access available to the otters as well. So this is where both will lead into, and it's kind of a little bit hidden away from the guest, which I think is brilliant, because that's how you want to do it, and it just doesn't disrupt the people from their experience. You won't be able to see it from various places. I mean, sure, we have some benches there. Sometimes you see this in real zoos as well, that you have some more quiet areas, just to staff areas, where you can sit down in case you don't want to be annoyed by all the trouble in the zoo. That sometimes happens, and yeah, and I'm just fixing the habitat first, because at this point Yosemite is pretty crowded. There's a lot going on in the zoo, and I needed to make sure that everything is already set in place, because it's just like very much focused on the looks, and the function of the habitat sometimes is just a little bit off. Anyhow, we are at the center, or in the middle of the video, so for those of you who are still listening to here, I would ask you guys to put a comment in the comment section down below in order to have the chance to win a little game. I've got a few codes from a few random games, so in case you guys want to help me out and you listen to this point in time, just comment down below. Well, let's think about it. I don't want to make it too obvious for the other ones. Let's say crew member. Just put crew member down, okay? Just put crew member in a comment. However you want to do it, you can also hide it in the comments. Just put down crew member, and that would be awesome, because then I can pick one of you guys to give you a free game code. Maybe I'm even putting down 2. Let's see. I've got a few game codes I can give away. So yeah, that should be great. But yeah, now let's do some more talk about the habitat. So you can see this is like a little leap forward. There are some otters already in, and now I'm starting to do some more shallow water. So the basic idea was to have like a deep dive area where the viewing gallery is, to make sure that the otters will do some cool swimming over there, and just having some good times. And then I wanted to make sure that there is a more shallow area, which from the bridge that crosses the river over here is a lot more visible, and you can see them swimming, diving through the shallow water, which I think looks fantastic if they do. And I figured, and also that's what people in the chat told me, in case you're not familiar with what chat I mean, this is all being created in my Twitch live stream. Link is always in the description if you want to be part of it next time. But yeah, so we all figured that these 4 rocks, like these bigger cobble rocks over there, they seem to have like a gigantic hitbox, and they are part of the reason why the diveable area is going to be reduced dramatically. So if you put them in, it seems they have like a huge cube around them as the actual obstruction area where the animals don't go, and they basically destroy what is meant to be the swimmable area. So if this is really the case, I will exchange this with the actual rocks, because they seem to have a pretty decent hitbox, meaning the hitbox is exactly as the form of these things and these rocks. So I really hope it's the case, because that would be great. And then, yeah, this is my favorite part of the habitat. We are going to make this like little waterfall coming from the top, and this is something I couldn't do before the update, because these waterfall pieces are really, really cool for what I'm doing right here. You can make some nice creeks, you know, some really nice stuff that looks actually like a creek. I remember that Mike in Yosemite, in Kuali used the ice pieces to make it look like that, but now we have this actual stream and it looks so cool. You have this water effect, it looks like water. You have the actual surface flickering, and the surface, you can really nicely see that over here, how it's blinking a little bit in the sunlight. You have these little whitish things moving in the water that, you know, gives you an indication of crystal clear water. I love that, and this is why I wanted to use these things. And yeah, in just using the rocks and boulders in a clever way, you can make it look natural, and I think this is really great, and it just also looks pretty dang good, I guess. So yeah, I think there's not that much we can talk about, because now, you know, the setting is pretty much here. We have this creek coming down into the bigger little, I don't even know how to, it's like almost like a bay. It's not really a bay, it's just like a bigger water volume over here where they can dive. You have the waterfall that is filling it in. We have a nice effect later on the water. I haven't done it yet, but there will be like a nice little water effect, so that looks all a bit nicer, and some more activities going on. And yeah, I will then of course go on and make this habitat look pretty. We will also extend the habitat a little bit more to the left-hand side, so it curls a little bit around more to make it a bit more like a tunnel, very thin, long habitat. I think that's a cool bit. Also, again, I just noticed that myself today. My voice is super nosy. I don't know really what it is. I mean, I know it's pollen allergy, but I just can't get over it. It's way too warm here in Germany. I also hate it. Okay, let's just have a little ramble here, a little rant, okay? So if there's one thing I really hate, it's not having a winter. I'm a person who loves snow. I'm a winter person. Oh, let me know in the comments down below. Are you a summer or a winter person? That's always interesting to know. I figure it's always like 50-50, but let's see what you guys are thinking. But yeah, I'm a total winter person. I love summer holidays, don't get me wrong, but there's just so much patience, so much peace, and so much just like relaxation I can get from a winter holiday. There's nothing like having a good day of skiing, being very frozen, and then go into a restaurant, have a very hefty, lovely little meal in the evening, then go for a bit of wellness, and then go to bed early in a very cozy, warm bed with open windows, where the crystal clear, cold outside breeze comes into your room, but you are like cuddled into the warm bed. There's nothing better than that. I mean, I feel like reborn the next morning. It is the best freaking thing in the world for me personally. I just like 1 week of skiing with like really great weather, freezing temperatures and snow. I've got energy for the next year. It's really great. And so honestly, I'm really pissed that the world is changing so much with the climate change and stuff, and the chances are high that I'm not able to witness that every year in the next coming years, and then let's say 10 to 20 years further into the future, there's barely a chance I can live that at all. Like it's not gonna happen anymore. And this is also why I'm a big fan of any kind of climate climate saving activities, and I'm even looking into what I can do for it. So I might even make a video about this, what I've changed in the last year together with my wife in terms of saving the environment. We did a lot of things that are easy to do. Of course, we are still far away from being great. We are still very average on that, but at least we are average by now and going on, I guess, and thinking about it. It's always also a matter of how much money you have. Don't get me wrong. I'm not this kind of person who says like everyone can do it. Nope, that's not my belief, because there's a lot that has to do with a lot of money. But yeah, anyways, I hate it that the winter is not existing in Germany anymore. So right now, as I'm talking to you, it is the 18th of December today, and it is around 12 o'clock. Like it's noon, and we have what's the weather telling me? Let me just check. Yeah, we've got 11 degrees outside, and it's 11 degrees. I don't know. I can see the blooming trees and stuff. It's like spring, and my body is like, hey, yeah, wow, we've got pollens. Well, great, let's make your nose feel weird and stuff, you know. Really don't like it. But yeah, so to the end of the video, because we're getting there, this is already a little bit of a hint for the next episode. So this is where the water goes into the actual river. We put some effects in here and stuff, but in the end it will look pretty nice, as if this is really like exactly meant to be this way. We put a lot of other stuff in here, but it looks really cool, and I'm really looking forward to the next episode. Guys, let me know how you like the idea, and if you like the positioning of the otter habitat. Let me know also in the comments down below if you're a winter or summer person. Really interesting to know. And yeah, just let me know what was your favorite habitat so far of the Aquatic DLC. Was it in Yosemite? Was it in the Aquatic Dome? Or do you want to see something else? Let me know in the comments down below. But now, stay safe everyone. Have a great weekend, and I talk to you in the next one. Goodbye.